Hello everyone, this is POW Ponder on Weather. In this update, we're going to be talking about our massive winter storm that's expanding with intense snowfall, ice, and even tornadoes. Welcome back everyone. Happy Sunday out there. We got a lot to cover this morning. Go ahead and hit the like button if you hadn't already and subscribe to my channel. Also, I do daily updates, and also I want to leave the comments below and let me know the conditions in your area, whether you're getting heavy rain, sleet, ice, snow, high winds. I want to hear from you, so definitely leave your comments. Let's go over the expansion of the winter weather advisories and watches and warnings this morning. And this is really lit up as we expand to the east and actually drop further south as well. So all the areas into your purple shaded areas, that is your winter weather advisories that expanded further south into Mississippi and to Alabama, extending all the way into South Carolina as well as North Carolina, all the way up the coast here. And then all your pink areas, that is your winter storm warnings. We're going to be looking at some heavier snowfall, and we've already seen some impressive amounts. There's spots in North Carolina that's already received 10 inches of snowfall as I speak. So let's go over the south side, because there's actually a severe weather component to this with this very dynamic system. We've had several tornado warnings already, and this morning when I was doing this update, we had 3 tornado warnings in and around the Orlando area. There was some damage around the Tampa Bay area earlier. There's a tornado warning that was south of Sarasota, as well as Cape Coral. This whole area is going to be inundated with a severe threat this morning with the rotation in the atmosphere. So don't let your guard down on the south side with some very heavy rain and some isolated tornadoes mixed in this mix. And this will actually come up the coast a little bit in towards the Savannah area, right along the coast where you're still in that warm sector away from all the cold air. So let's zoom in and really time this out. So I kind of broke this up in 3 components. I'm going to cover the southeast side of the storm, and then I'll cover the mid-Atlantic, and then I'll cover the northeast into New England component. Down here at the bottom is your snow in blue, and that's your sleet, and your ice, that's your orange. And then you have the pink shaded area, or your purple shaded area, that is your freezing rain. And all the areas up here along the right hand side of your screen, the lower the number, the lighter the amount of precipitation as far as liquid precipitation, and the higher the number, then that's the indicative of some heavier rainfall that's consistent over the Tampa Bay area into Orlando. The time is at the top of your screen, so it's going to be in the Eastern time. When I was recording this video, it was 7:15 Eastern time. So this is where we're at currently. So we got the snow moving in into portions of Tupelo, going into Jackson. The changeover is happening and to Nashville. We still got rain into Birmingham. You got all the severe threat and the heavier rain on the south side, but it's just a nasty ice sleet setup in Augusta into Columbia, as well as Greenville here. And then we're making the transition in most of Tennessee to kind of a rain to sleet to ice to a snow mix on the back side. So as we go into that noon time frame today, you can see the transition pulling a little bit further south into Jackson. That you're going to transition into some snow, as well as Montgomery, and getting into portions of Birmingham. You could start getting some of that mixed precipitation starting to transition in the atmosphere. Changes over to Atlanta. Atlanta starts to see the snow, and then up to the north, you still got the snow in Nashville. You're starting to make the transition, the slow transition into Knoxville with that rain, sleet, ice mix. It's eventually going to be transferring to snow. And there's your rain on the south side. There's all the icy mess into Charlotte and to Raleigh-Durham. It's just going to be a complete mess with ice and freezing rain. Again, a lot of these areas are getting some snow currently, and we're making a transition into sleet and ice. There's your 4 o'clock time frame. It's all snow into Atlanta. Look how far south it drops into Macon. That you should see some snow from this system. That continues to pull over. That's in the Knoxville area. Now you're in the snow by 4 o'clock this afternoon, as we're making the transition to more ice and sleet into the Charlotte area, into the Raleigh area, as you still have that severe component on the south side right along the edge here. And as the rain continues to pull up, the heavier rain on the south side in the warm sector. So as we transition into about 7 o'clock tonight, yeah, we're talking all snow now into Middle Tennessee, going into Knoxville. It's transitioning to that light snow into Birmingham. It's kind of moving out by then. Not really expecting terribly too much snow in Birmingham, but you could see some snow out of this deal. But about 1 to 3 inches in the Atlanta area, and then higher amounts as you get up to the north. But there's the transition to all snow and to Knoxville, Tennessee, where you've got the rain moving up from the south side. This is by 7 o'clock tonight. So as we transition into the mid-Atlantic states, let's take you into about 7 o'clock tonight, where you're still going to be seeing that snow transfer over into Lexington, Kentucky here, into places into Charleston, as well as Columbus, Ohio. That starts to inundating Pittsburgh with some heavier snows. The darker blues indicate your heavier snow where it's going to be flying in your area. We should start making the transfer over into Baltimore, into DC, as well as Philly and New York. There's going to be a small window here where we can get some snowfall, at least along the coastline here, into Philly, into New York City before the rain takes over. And as pretty much the entire state of Pennsylvania should be inundated with that snow by then. And as we transfer into the midnight hour, it's all snow winding down on the backside as it starts to fade off into the Knoxville area. It's still snowing into portions of Kentucky here, into Charleston, into Roanoke, up to Columbus. We could be looking at some pretty significant totals in South Ohio here, going up to Cleveland. Heavier snow transfers to kind of the ice and sleet and freezing rain type mix into the Pittsburgh area. But that actually won't last long, because you're going to be transferring back to heavy snow. And then as this snow continues to push up into Hartford, into Albany, as well as going into Buffalo, where, man, they're going to get clocked from this system with the combination of the snow and then lake effect snow on the backside. And then as we transition into that 5 o'clock in the morning time frame, there's your heavier snow winding down in Roanoke, into Charleston. We're all snow again into Pittsburgh, going into Erie. Cleveland's getting all snow by then. Then as it continues into Syracuse, picking up some really hefty totals as it continues northward into Burlington, Vermont. We got the heavier rain on the south side into New York City by then. Transfers into more of a rain, sleet, snow mix into the Hartford area as this continues to push up. And then as we go into and kind of take you back into the northeast view now, so this takes you back all the way back until noontime on Sunday. So this is noontime on Sunday now. We're going back because we're in the northeast corridor. Yeah, you should start getting that transfer to snow into Philly, into New York City, transfer into Pittsburgh here as this continues to move up. By the time we get into that 2 o'clock in the morning time frame, it's all snow in the Hartford area, into Massachusetts, going into Concord, into Rutland here, as well as Burlington, Vermont as well. And then all of upstate New York is going to be clocked with this system with very heavy snow as this continues to push up. You got rain on the south side, a lot of rain heading back into Philly and to New York City. And then nothing yet into the main area, but it's only a matter of time before it continues to press further northeast, and the snow starts to wind down in the Charleston area on the backside with that heavier snow winding down. And as we continue to move across, it comes out of Charleston, but then that heavier snow moves back into Pittsburgh. This is 9 o'clock in the morning on Monday morning with that heavier snow. So you could be picking up some pretty significant totals in and around the Pittsburgh area, at least a foot of snow from this event. As this continues to ride up the coast, now places into Bangor, into northern Maine, gets that very heavy snow, gets into northern Vermont, northern New Hampshire here as it continues to push up. You got rain along the coastal areas. And then as we go into that 4 o'clock in the afternoon time frame on Monday, yeah, there's your heavier snow starting to wind down. But then you get the backside threat. Now you're getting the lake effect inducement snow into Buffalo area. You're going to be getting some more kind of feeder bands in and around the New York City area, going back into Hartford, places into Massachusetts, kind of your leftover 1 or 2 inches, adding to these totals as this continues to wind down on the backside. And you can see these sporadic northwest flow with these lake effect snow bands starting to move in. And you can really tell it by the time we get past the midnight hour, going into that Tuesday morning time frame with these little feeder bands of this lake enhanced inducement of snowfall that's kind of going to be winding down this system. But overall, it's going to be nasty for much of the southeast and going into the mid-Atlantic. This combination with the snow, and then here's all your sleet and all your freezing rain is going to be a lot of treacherous travel. You're going to have numerous power outages in these areas, trees down, coating on the roads. Obviously, you can't drive in anything more than 1/10 of an inch of ice. It's going to be very difficult once this kind of piles up on the roadways, piles up on the surfaces, all the surfaces out there. So the best advice is just to stay home from this system. Because, yeah, you can drive in snow, but it gets very difficult to drive in ice. And you don't want to be caught out in this mess without a way home. And that's the worst case scenario. But, yeah, here's the snowfall totals. These are, of course, adding to those totals what's already happened. I mean, some of these totals I've already seen 10 inches of snowfall in and around the North Carolina area. So these are additional snowfall totals. Here's your graph on the right-hand side of the screen. So your higher amounts are inland. So along the coast, like places like Philly into New York City, going into Boston, you're looking at, from a 1/10 of an inch to 2 inches. Not expecting much from this particular system, but as you go inland, the snowfall totals increase significantly, especially as you go through in around the West Virginia area, going into eastern parts of Ohio here, southern eastern parts of Ohio. You get into Pennsylvania, you're starting to look at some impressive totals. Look at the graph here, over 1 foot of snow towards the lake. I mean, anywhere from 2 feet. It's not out of the question. Some of these isolated areas with that lake enhanced induced snowfall up to close to 24 to 36 inches. From this snow as it really winds down and really starts to crank up. But a good swath of upstate New York, easily 8 to 12 inches, over 1 foot in spots, with that very heavy snow continuing to lift up into Vermont and New Hampshire and northern Maine here as this system starts to wind down. So, hey, I appreciate you guys watching. Definitely leave your comments below. I want to hear from you and let me know your conditions outside and what you're getting in your backyard from this system. It's a widespread event. So stay home if all possible. Share this video with your friends and family. Let them know what's coming. And stay with me and catch me in the next update where I protect you before and after storm.